Hey, it's Saturday. I might as well get the whole profile picture thing out of the way. Tara Joyce is now saying that Fiona Barnett is exposing me and that I now molested my nephew when I was 16, which didn't happen. First of all, Fiona Barnett isn't online. She's not on any social media platforms at all. So the Fiona Barnett thing that she has is fake. It's not Fiona. And Fiona wouldn't be working with Tara Joyce, even if she was. But I want to point out the whole thing. That hag is just trying to bait me. Because Virginia Giuffre, now that she's been in the accident, what people don't realize is that, they've now charged her with breaking a protection order. So, because she spoke, hey Sherilyn, she spoke about getting into the accident. So, and that she was dying because she's in renal failure now. And so, what Tara Joyce's thing shows is that she is so intricately involved with all of the bad guys. You know? I'm not the one who hangs out with Daniel Dowd, who's meeting kids. Hey, Susan, who's meeting kids online and doing videos about how he's meeting kids. I'm not the one who's involved with the barely legal porn people like Tara Joyce is. And Tara Joyce is now, she's just trying to bait me so that I talk about Fiona. Because now that they have busted Virginia Giuffre, now they want to get Fiona. And isn't it amazing? What are they charging Virginia with? A fucking protection order. That's their favorite game. Is because what they do is they attack victims and then they take a protection order out on them. But she's just a liar. She's just a liar. And as you can see, she's working with my family. So she's obsessed. Fiona hasn't been online ever since Kappy got murdered. Exactly. She's busy living her life. She doesn't want to be involved in any of this. But what Tara Joyce thinks is that she can bait me into talking about Fiona so that Fiona then gets in trouble? And Tara Joyce is talking with my family, my sister Cindy's kids. You know, it's bizarre. She's saying that I molested my nephew when I was 16, but there's less than 3 years difference between Eric and I, because that's who they're focusing on. The dude who got busted for selling prescription drugs to an undercover cop. The guy who has a diaper fetish. Doesn't need diapers, but he wears diapers. And then he gets his sister, his wife, if he's still married, to change his diapers. They're in here, but I like this shit because it helps my algorithm. So they're actually helping me with this, you know? Because it's Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth and all of this. They're concerned about that 2 million people getting busted in that child porn ring. Because it's going to get down to them. Because that's what that Famalam thing that Isaac Kappy was using, they're using that to traffic kids. to reach out to kids. That's what they're doing, that they're using Isaac Kappy's Famalam thing. So they're all involved with child trafficking. And that's the reason, and Tara Joyce is all involved with them. So it's just a group. It's the same old shit. But they're not very bright. You know, Fiona's not involved with anything, with anyone. You know, not at all. And she wouldn't be working with Tara Joyce. Ew. You know? Ew. And so it's just more bullshit. It's just that Tara Joyce had to actually mention me in that because they wanted me to see it so that I, you know, to try and bait me in this. But there's nothing to talk about, you know? Fiona's not involved with any of this, you know? Fiona's not involved with any of it. And, but they went after Virginia Giuffre. And so now they just think that they're going to try and get Fiona at the same time, you know? But what I wanted to talk about first today is the directed energy weapons. You know, I have a bunch of links in the description. One of them is amazing. I listened to it. It's 2 hours long. And was amazing. Gov, I need your help because I just don't remember all of the shit that I wanted to talk about with all of that. Gov actually found a great interview. And so I went on and pulled some stuff up to actually look at some of the stuff. And there is some amazing, the 2 hour one, which is done by the engineer, that is an amazing interview. He talks about gang stalking and everything that he was talking about. Actually, I learned some stuff because it doesn't have to be your neighbors involved with the targeting with the weapons. Gang stalking, yeah. And it's funny because one of the people that I pretty much figure is involved with this came and told me this bullshit story about how people are banging on their door and trying to engage their daughter, and it was all about me, and it's all bullshit. I realized that the story that I was told was all bullshit, and it's to distract and discombobulate, but it doesn't work, and it certainly doesn't work with the dark. They think that their lies and all of this stuff is just, the investigations are not dependent on public perception. And when it comes down to it, they're idiots. You know, they're idiots. And so it's not, the stuff is being investigated. It's being investigated. I'm not even focused on Isaac Kappy and who was involved with Isaac Kappy's murder. I'm more interested in his little Famalam program. That's what I'm interested in, because that right now is what they're using to target the kids. They're going on kids' platforms, gaming platforms, and that's how they're targeting the kids. And so they're just, I guess they figure, you know, what will happen to it with investigators if they're at all worth their salt? Tara Joyce is going to do her stupid shit, so they're just going to investigate both of us. You know, they're just going to investigate both of us. I'm fine with that. I'm not hanging out with kids. I'm not hanging out with people who are meeting kids online and actually doing videos justifying how it's okay that their convicted pedophile ass is meeting kids online. I'm not hanging out with barely legal porn associates. I'm not doing any of that. And I'm certainly not contacting Tara Joyce or any of the other ones' family members, you know? But let me just point out, the nephew that they're saying, first of all, ew, Eric is disgusting, has always been disgusting. My sister almost killed him because he tried to molest his little sister, Megan. That's the whole thing about it. So all of this shit was going on. So, because when they were 16, funny enough, I have this. This is the house we were all living in. And there were 12 of us. All of my sister's 6 kids were underneath here with my sister and Ralph. I had a bedroom. My half-sister had a bedroom, which is really actually my niece. But all that. So this is all happening. So I was this big molester. I guess that my parents and their parents didn't give a shit. Their dad didn't give a shit. Their mom didn't give a shit. You know, all of this. It's all bullshit. It's all stupid bullshit. You know? And if you look into my sister Cindy's kids, other than Matthew, who seems to be okay, the rest of them aren't worth a shit. Aren't worth a shit. Criminal. You could actually ask my niece Megan, who is the youngest, but you can't. And why can't you? Because she died in a shootout with police, with her boyfriend. That's the shit that goes on in my sister Cindy's family. You know? They were all involved with all kinds of stupid shit. So if they want to run with that, fine. Then let them be investigated too, because you'll find so much more dirt on them than you'll ever find on me. And so, whatever, you know? But it's not based on popularity. You know, so what? And even if it was true, which it's not, so she's saying it happened when I was 16. I'm 58 fucking years old now. So this has been a long time ago, you know? But Tara Joyce is running around with the barely legal, and where are the barely legal porn people situated? Las Vegas. Las Vegas, where there's a huge, not only just child trafficking, but just human trafficking thing all there. They're just trying to distract from themselves, you know? And if they want to get a hold of my family, it's a bit obsessive. Anybody who looks at it thinks it's weird, but hey, knock yourselves out. Justin Carter is a pseudonym going back to the actual directed energy weapons, you know? Brian Lofton is what the research that I did this morning. Brian Lofton is his name, you know, and he was an engineer who actually used these weapons on people and then felt bad, and so he's exposing it. And so that whole group that called out the homeless camp are all silenced. Yeah, they are. Of course, Craig Sawyer is shut up because he was getting all this money to combat child trafficking and didn't spend a fucking dime on any of it. You know, from what I understand, he was paying for NASCAR shit. You know, they were just spending the money willy-nilly. That's how it worked. It was all bullshit. And I would be willing to bet the reason why they're dancing around now, trying to actually make it all about me, is because chances are they're fucked. Now that this pedophile, even if they're not involved with this 2 million people being busted with this kid flicks shit that was going on in the dark web, you know? Yes, we're talking about the rape tree thing that had the shackles for little kids bolted to the trees. That was the homeless camp in Arizona. Craig Sawyer and Russ Dizdar and Gabe Hoffman were all running around at the exact same time. Oh, we're going to expose this. Oh, yeah. You know? And then when Gabe Hoffman did his little open secret documentary, the victims that actually helped him that he interviewed came out and said it was bullshit, and he basically was just manipulating the whole thing, and he threatened to sue them to shut him up. This group games the system. They know how to game the system. They know they love to get protection orders out on people. They love to file lawsuits. They like to do all kinds of shit to shut people up. And they know how to game the system. But when it comes down to it, that Famalam thing that Isaac Kappy set up, they're using that to target kids. And who's involved with that? Well, Geo Farnsworth is the one who got all of his fucking electronic shit. He started off bragging out about, because he told me that I was not in any of the keystrokes. So Isaac and I didn't know each other. That's how it started. They all descended upon me when I started talking about Isaac Kappy. Tara Joyce reached out to me while on X, trying to befriend me and trying to act like she was a supporter, all the while she's running around and telling people that I'm a pedophile. It's no different than what it is now. She's just playing the same game. And it's sad. It's sad and not a little bit pathetic. And so, but these weapons, they talk, I will listen to the 2 hour, with the one with the engineer, it's a 2 hour, and it's amazing. It's amazing. He talks about how he was targeted, and the stuff that he was talking about is exactly what I've dealt with. Exactly what I've dealt with. And the gang stalking of where they go out of their way because they want you to know that they're involved. They do everything they can to try and make, and they're all fucking meth heads. They're all pieces of shit because normal people don't have time for that kind of shit. Well, that's interesting that there's mainstream stories now about the trees actually existing. There's no way to deny that this shit is happening with all the stuff that's come out. That global satanic Nazi pedo ring that they busted after arresting he was 22, 23 years old on a gun charge in New York City. And then the FBI went into his social media and started to realize he was involved in this satanic Nazi pedo ring, which is exactly what Isaac was trying to expose. Exactly what I've been trying to expose. They're using the satanic temple after school daycare to target the fucking kids. All the people that are involved with all of this stuff, Thomas Schoenberger, intricately involved with every single person who's involved with this shit. Just intimately involved and brags about it. Sewertown, completely involved. Tara Joyce, completely involved. Her associates are Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth. Daniel Dowd, one of two people who lied about the whole bridge thing with Isaac Kappy for 4 years until I came along, and then suddenly the story's changed, and now they want to be heralded as heroes because now not only did they know Isaac Kappy, they want to be heralded as heroes for trying to prevent him from jumping. The stories have changed so drastically by their own shit. Their own, all this stuff that they've gone on and spewed for years, And the fact that Tara Joyce is now trying to say that she's working with Fiona Barnett, who's exposing me, is the stupidest fucking thing. It is, again, if you believe their shit, I suggest that you go to the doctor and have them extract your head from your fucking ass because you're not getting enough oxygen. and the carbon monoxide that you're actually breathing in with your head so far up your ass isn't actually helping you. You know? It's just bizarre, and Fiona's not involved with anybody, let alone Tara Joyce. You know? Ew. Fiona has better taste than that, let me tell you. And she's not involved with anything, but now Tara Joyce thinks that she's so all that now that they're trying to take Virginia Giuffre down, that she can be involved with taking Fiona Barnett down. You know? Well, you'd have to prove that Fiona's involved with stuff, and she's not. At all. You know? Not at all. She's irritated that I'm still involved with it. It just causes fights between us. Because she wants me out of the shit. She just doesn't think that anything will come with anything, and it just destroys people's lives. You know? And so, I guess if you want to believe that, but they're so used to feeding bullshit and feeding people drama and running them down all these dumbass rabbit holes that go nowhere, that they just think everyone's stupid. And everyone isn't stupid. You know? I don't really know who anyone is connected to, because you want to know what? I don't research them. I certainly don't reach out to their fucking family members. That's them. They're so obsessed with me that they're just reaching out to everyone. And just trying to they've done it for years. You know? I'm not obsessed with them like they are me. I deal with them because they're just dumbasses, and they just had to let me know. You know? Oh, Geo didn't come from any brains. If they did, it skipped his generation, let me tell you. You're right, Sherilyn, because the dude... I listened back to some of the voicemails that dude has left me. Fuck, is he ever sober? Because he seems drunk in every fucking message I have on my phone. He seems drunk. He sounds drunk. Or he has brain damage, take your pick, but he's slurring his words, doesn't make any sense, doesn't finish sentences, you know? So he's either drunk or he has brain damage. Take your pick, you know? And Daniel Dowd is out meeting kids and doing videos showing how he's meeting kids. But they've stopped sending me emails, and it's happened. They cut everything off. And it was about a week before it hit the news about, hey, Smokey, it hit the news. They stopped about a week ago, and then a week later, they busted this fucking dark web pedophile bullshit that has ensnared 2 million people, and 36 countries were involved. So I have a feeling that's what caused them to stop. You know? I knew something was up. I just didn't realize. It wasn't until someone told me about this pedophile bust, and now I'm sure they're all worried about it. And Tara Joyce is just gonna lie, because she's just an idiot. My experience with her is that she is so disingenuous. The woman wouldn't know the truth if it's blindsided her right along the head. You know? And so they started the takedown a week ago. It wouldn't hit the news until key players. And that's just it, Gov. I think they were taking down. That's the reason why they stopped. Because key players were getting taken down, so they've just stopped. You know? When you go from sending me fucking email after email after email, day after day after day, and many of you know what it was like because I was forwarding them to you as well. And now, nothing? It's just completely stopped? You know? dshurtermod@gmail. It's all small. Thank you, Sherilyn. Watch your caps. And when you type in stuff, don't swear because it doesn't show up on the chat. That's what's stopping some of the chat. You know? Since I've actually gotten Sherilyn's help, I've learned a lot more. Thank you. These plants were actually dead. They were dying at Hy-Vee, and a friend of mine was just like, we're just going to throw these out. I said, don't throw them out. I'll take them home. This is what I've been able to do to them. You know? We've been getting mail. The emails are coming in. So let me, Susan, I think you actually sent some questions. I did talk to my dad. You know, we were estranged. And actually, a week before he died was the last time I saw him. And I told him, we will never speak again, but I will reach out and find you shamanically after you die so you don't get lost. And he died a week later. But both of my parents were like children. My dad was psychotic, but we're told to honor our parents. And you know, the 10 Commandments were given to us with no caveats. It's not do this, except or maybe you might not want to do it because of this. We were given those, and the fifth one is honor your parents. I think it's the fifth one. Maybe the fifth one is don't murder. Maybe it's the third one, honor your, but whatever. Honor your mother and father. And so I honored my mother and father. And Source doesn't do exceptions, exactly. It doesn't make any difference that my parents were crazy and all of that. I still had to honor them because it was about me, not them. And so I honored my parents. My dad knew exactly how I felt about him. In fact, one time my dad told me that that's what he appreciated about me. Because in the family, good or bad, he always knew where he stood with me. I didn't play the bullshit games that the rest of my siblings play, you know? And so I just, you know, I was the only one of my father's kids who actually had our dad's respect. My dad respected me, you know? The rest of my siblings didn't have that. Not a one of them had it. And, but I did. And it was just because I was different from the rest of my family. I didn't play the fucking games, you know? Shit, most of them couldn't, all of them can't fucking tell the truth, you know? They just lie, whatever sounds good. That's the reason why they get along with people like Tara Joyce and Doug Mesner, Lucian Greaves, you know? If someone believes I'll find love when I have enough money, money will block love. And then you have money, then they don't love you, they love your money, you know? Oh, Smokey. But there were a couple more questions that Susan had. Maybe, Sherilyn, you can help me with them because you're the one who sent me the questions. I don't remember all of the questions. They've been blasting the shit out of me. In fact, I've been up since 2:30 this morning because I just finally got out of bed. But as far as the directed energy weapon stuff, and if you go to the first link, which goes to my blog, you'll see the evidence. You'll see the NBC News article when the U.S. Air Force went in front of Congress, said they had these weapons, and they were going to use them on American citizens to show the rest of the world they were safe. You'll see the actual government documentation of the directed energy weapons. That's official government documentation that shows those weapons. But then the interviews behind that, I have something about the targeted individual that I have his link to his YouTube station because I went on there this morning and looked and it was just like, wow, some of this is fascinating. And so I shared it, you know? kind of looks like the guy with the tablets and 10 rules wasn't the Most High. Moses, you know, Moses gave us the 10 commandments. Then Jesus Christ gave us the two that actually do. They make all the other ones a no-brainer. If you're following the 2 commandments that Jesus Christ gave, love God, love everyone else, the 10 commandments are no-brainers, you know? And so, but, I'm just tired, you know? It's just been crazy. It's just been crazy. And there's some of you that I can't tell you thank you enough. I'm not mentioning names, but I guess people were excited about this pedophile ring getting busted because I got some donations that are going to help out a lot, you know, that have helped out a lot. And, I'm not rich by any means, but the fact that some of you donated was just, and you know who you are, I'm not mentioning names, but I just want to say thank you. I totally appreciate it. You know, I totally appreciate it. And the 10 commandments are how the 5 rules are used by ego to have an aligned life. Yep. Because if you look back at the other one, at the last live, Gov shared 5 rules. I brought them all up. I talked about them. And this is Saturday, so I'm willing to do a little bit longer, you know. Yeah, that's just it. When you have money, people are in love with your money. They're not in love with you. That's the reason why I say, if I ever won the lottery, fuck everyone who's going to come to me afterwards. I'm only helping the people who are in my life now, and there's only a handful of people in my life right now, you know? Because the 2 are all we ever needed. Exactly, Susan. The 2 that were given to us by Jesus Christ are the only 2 commandments we've written. If you're following, like I said, if you're following those 2 and trying to emulate the life that Jesus Christ lived, that we're supposed to emulate, those are really the only 2 that you need to focus on, because the other ones, you know, and really when the 10 commandments all come down to don't steal. Don't steal your parents' honor. Don't steal God's honor. Don't steal another's life. Keep your hands off of fucking other people's shit. Keep your hands off of other people's relationships. That's basically the 10 commandments are, you know, keep your fucking hands to yourself and shut your mouth. You know, don't take away people's honor. Don't bear false witness. And that's the thing about the 2-hour one that I was listening to today. That's some of the stuff that he talked about, because that's what he said, was that they go out and they'll go in your community and they'll lie about you. Like Tara Joyce is right now about me today. That perfect example. Fucking bear false witness. They'll say whatever fucking, if they think that telling people that you're a 7-headed hydra who eats children in one gulp, they'll go tell your neighbors, your family, your community, everything. Sarah is here. I don't know if Sarah's here. Susan's here. I don't remember the 3 questions that I was asked, Sherilyn, so I need your help with that, because I don't remember. I'm tired today. You know, I'm tired. And, but I am willing, if you guys are on here and actually asking questions, those questions were Sarah's, well, still give them to me, because Sarah, people go back and listen to this stuff. And so she'll, even if she's not here for the live, I can still deal with the questions, so answer her questions, you know? I don't see my dad on the other side. I really don't even see Cindy on the other side. Cindy ends up talking to me, but it's not like with shamanic stuff. I can go to the other side and just have conversations with dead people like you can here with live people. It doesn't work that way, you know? And it's more impressions and opening yourself up and trusting your feelings and your instincts and all of that, you know? And so, but dead can't communicate with us, you know? And we're told that we're not really supposed to try, you know? I think it's because life is supposed to be for the living, you know? It's life is supposed to be for the living. We're supposed to actually deal with our lives. If we could deal with the dead people that we've lost, most of us wouldn't be leading alive, you know? I don't need beehive hair. And again, if that's the only thing you can talk about, you know, you need... Oh, is that Saki? You just being a butthead. Better name. You know, better name. I'm doing okay. You know, I'm just exhausted. They're blasting me with these fucking weapons, but the whole thing about, you know, they're trying to take out survivors now. That's the reason why they're trying to take out Virginia and Covert. That's the reason why Tara Joyce is trying to bait me into, I don't know what she thinks I'm going to say that would get Fiona in trouble, because Fiona, I've said it over and over and over, Fiona's not involved with anything. And on the occasions that we do talk, she talks about her house. I talk about my house. She's an artist. I'm an artist. We talk about that kind of shit. We don't talk about any of this fucking trafficking, our childhood, all of that. We don't talk about any of that. Because she's sick of it, and I'm sick of it. Fiona Barnett, yeah. You know? Losing Isaac Kappy changed everything for us. Yes, from Australia. She's not involved with anything. She's not on social media. She's not doing shit. You know? She's trying to lead her life and be as happy as she possibly can with whatever time she has left. You know? And she's not involved with anything. She's not talking about any of the shit. She's not involved with any of the shit. You know? She's out of it. She's out of it completely. But the fact that Tara Joyce is trying to bait me and they're trying to take Fiona down now just shows you how interconnected Tara Joyce is. You know? That's what it shows. They're all involved. I had people send me fucking screenshots of Nathan's stupid shit now. You know? I stopped talking to Nathan years ago because I figured that they were trying to discredit him. And this might not be an opinion that everybody wants to share, but I think he's a fucking dumbass. I didn't realize that he had the mental issues that he talks about openly. I didn't realize that, so maybe that's what it was. But who cares? The result is the same. If he's a dumbass, if he's working with them and he's bad, or he has mental issues, what difference does it make? The result is the same. He is surrounded by those idiots. And so Skills, Kara from Free Range Humans, Skills, Emily Thorne, she goes by other names now too. You know? She's in there. They were talking about me. Defango is talking about me. You know? They're all anonymous. You think that their mom called her Skills? Do you think the idiot's name, his real name is Defango? You know? They're just fucking dumbasses. DNA frequency is used to capture and record the neural data from eyes and ears. The shit that they were talking about, Gub, in that interview was stuff that just... It was kind of scary, you know? And I'm just, you know... And I don't have enough hair, Saki, to actually have my hair in a beehive. You guys can't see it, but I have a big bald monk spot on the back of my head, which is the reason why I'm glad that I have long hair. You know? Do I think the control of silence and obedience that has made the cult effective is lifting? Yes. They no longer have the spiritual principalities helping them. They don't have it. So all of the shit is getting lifted. That's the reason why you're watching survivors actually come forward. You know? That's the reason why you're seeing survivors actually, because the stuff is starting to break. 2 million fucking pedophiles just got busted. So yeah, it's lifting. Everything is being brought out into the light, which is the reason why, you know, I didn't, just to say what I have to say, hey, Cognitive, and they're doing it to SRA survivors, yes, Gov. I've never had the Y2K, the skull, the voice thing. I don't have that, but then maybe that's because I've been in so much therapy, you know? But Max's Spears' last presentation was crazy. V2K, thank you, Cognitive. V2K is the stuff that Max Spears was talking about, because he was talking, the very last interview, that's the reason why they murdered him. You know, I don't think that it was a coincidence that I had just reached out to Max Spears a week and a half before he ended up dead. Because I don't think that Aquino wanted Max Spears and I working together at all. At all. And so, Max Spears, you know, and so Max Spears basically, one of the things, Max Spears said that if you get hit with this weaponry long enough, you get used to it. And I thought he was fucking crazy. I thought it was stupid. But he's right. Seattle is a targeted city. It's the funny thing about Seattle was I left Iowa to move out by Seattle thinking I was getting away from it and didn't realize that I was jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. Seattle was awful. And the whole thing about the whole Pacific Northwest, it's inundated with fucking Nazis. It's inundated. Richard Spencer and the shit that he was doing in Oregon. You know? Doug Mesner, Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. He's not a fucking Satanist, but he certainly hangs out with a bunch of fucking Nazis. And it's all occultist. You know? The Pacific Northwest is beautiful, but it's hell. All the demons that have gotten out of hell are living in the Pacific Northwest. You know? Canberra, Australia. Australia, you guys like... The laws that I've heard from people in Australia... And I'm not talking Fiona. Fiona's not the only person I know from Australia, you know? But the laws have changed drastically. That's the reason why Virginia Giuffre should have never gone to Australia. She should have stayed in the United States. But now they're going to charge her with, you know, she's lying in a fucking hospital bed having renal failure. And because she talked about that accident, now they're going to bust her for breaking a protection order, you know? That's the kind of shit that they like to do. And they all do it, you know? They like those protection orders. My stepmother took one out years and years and years ago thinking that it was going to prevent me from publishing Rabbit Hole and would close down my blog. Didn't work. Doug Mesner, Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. In Washington, he was all involved with all that shit for that protection order. Because they were trying to take me out. He was telling me that I was going to get killed. I was going to either be raped and murdered in jail or they were going to lobotomize me if I got into a mental institution. But none of that happened. You know? Fiona is one of the most remarkable people I've ever known. She knows that. Every time I talk to her, I tell her that. She's remarkable. She's incredibly strong. You know? Incredibly strong. I have the utmost respect for Fiona. She's not going to walk on water anytime soon. She has her own issues just like we all do. But, can people in the dark talk to our side? No, that's a Sarah question. The whole thing about it is when I go there, the only ones that I actually can have a conversation with, Father, Mother, and Jesus. Those are the three that I can have a conversation with. I see people, I don't think they do lobotomies anymore either, but of course, fucking Doug Mesner is like Tara Joyce. It's like all of them. They just talk out their ass. You know, they just threaten anything that they can. You know, they threaten everything. Thank you, Riley. It's still a threat, though. You know, and that's the whole thing about it is they do it to target people. The gang stalking is done to target people. You know, the gang stalking is done. The fucking weapons is definitely, because it causes terrible nightmares. Terrible nightmares. They were blasting me so bad 2 nights ago that I dreamt that my ex was trying to murder me. You know? That's the kind that wouldn't have happened. You know, he has issues, but not like that. But that's the kind of shit that you dream about because it causes so much anxiety. You know? And if you unalive yourself, then find it funny and make money off of that too. Exactly. Don't cuss. Sorry. Thank you, Sherilyn. I don't know if that was meant for me or for everyone else, but I'll try not to cuss. You know? It's just when I start talking about this stuff, and I'm exhausted today. And so when I'm tired and I'm talking, especially about this crap, not just you. So it's everybody. Don't cuss, because YouTube will stop. They won't let your comments get through if you're swearing in the comments. So if you want your comments seen, don't swear. You know, they do unalive people. They go out of their way. It's the reason why I said I'll live to 250 years old just to spite them. You know? Besides my faith, oh man. If I ever did anything stupid like that, heaven would just... I would never do anything like that. Nothing. You know? Nothing like that. Ever. Ever. I will live despite them no matter what crap they do to me. You know? They're gonna have the balls to actually do something for that to happen. But they don't. They're really good at hiding in the shadows with fake names. Skills, Defango. Doug Mesner has a zillion of them. Thomas Schoenberger has a million different accounts. They hide in the shadows. They're all big and bad. But when you're living 23 miles away from me, like Doug Mesner did for 4 years, you don't have the balls to actually face me face to face. You know? You hide in the shadows. But then you want everyone to think that you're big and bad and be terrified of you. Well, it doesn't work that way. You know? They're just little sociopath gremlins. That's exactly what they are. You know? And nobody around me would ever believe. If something happened to me, no one would believe that I did it to myself. And that's the reason why small town Iowa was probably a blessing for me to move back here. Because people in town know me. They know me. They're... I have a lot of people in town who know me. And that's how I know when they're starting to talk shit, it always gets back to me because people always come and tell me. That's how I know the shit that's going on. Because I always get told. Because people are just like, because I'm liked. People like me out and about, Because I guess I'm friendly. I'm very engaging. I love to talk to people, But no one would ever believe that I did anything stupid to myself. Ever. And so, and it wouldn't go over well, It is a no-brainer. No one would, but they just bullshit everyone. Now they're trying to say that Isaac Kappy was a drug user. He wasn't a drug user. He wasn't having his last video. Did he seem like he was psychotic in his last video? No. When he was saying that he would never commit suicide and if something happened to him, he didn't do it to himself. Then he ends up dead, the next day? And then they're running around saying, oh, well, he was psychotic. Yeah, well, the same people that are saying he's psychotic spent 4 years telling everybody how they didn't know Isaac. And now, not only did they know Isaac, they want to be heralded as a hero because now they were on the bridge. So 4 years later, the story changes and now they were on the bridge. But they're the ones that you can trust when they're saying that he was psychotic and a drug head. The ones who lied to you for 4 fucking years. Excuse my language. Isaac said he would never, and he didn't. I'll live till I'm 250 years old to spite them. And I'll never stop doing what I've been doing. I've been at this for decades, and it's never gonna stop. I'm gonna call them out every single chance I get. Oh, I only get so much on my phone, so that's just it. The truther community, they all knew. That's why I say it's, for a lot of them, it's just torture porn. They just torture porn. They didn't question anything about Isaac. Didn't question anything. The only reason why the truth came out is because I came along. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm all that. I'm just saying I kind of do that to people. I kind of draw out shit in people. And so for 4 years, people were just like, oh, Isaac killed himself. And now I come along. I spent 1.5 years talking about, and it wasn't even a year. It was only a few months that I started talking about Isaac that suddenly the story changed. And now the dude who knew exactly to the minute when he was driving under an overpass, who claimed he didn't know Isaac and there was no police presence, and now suddenly he was on the bridge with Isaac. Well, that's a pretty big discrepancy. And the very dude who actually, yeah, I can only see, and it's not even 3 or 4 comments, Sherilyn. I get like a little bit. So I can see if you guys leave a long thing, then I have to scroll back to read it because I lose it on the phone. Yeah, now Corey Daniel and Daniel Dowd were on the bridge with Isaac. For 4 years, Daniel Dowd was nowhere around. And Corey Daniel didn't know Isaac. And now, suddenly they were on the bridge and want to be heralded as heroes. The story just keeps changing, And Corey Daniel didn't know Isaac, but his wife did, and everyone Corey Daniel knew. What I've learned out of the situation, what I've been able to put together is Isaac was terrified. They were doing the same shit to him that they've done to me. It's just, it doesn't make me scared, it just pisses me off. But Isaac was starving. He was afraid. He didn't know who to trust. Well, of course he didn't know who to trust, because every one of his friends was criminal. You know? Sewer Town, they're all criminals. You know? So he didn't know who. So he called out and reached out to Craig Sawyer. And Craig Sawyer set him up. And Craig Sawyer and Thomas Schoenberger tortured him to death at that military base that was 2 minutes away from that bridge. And then Corey Daniel and Daniel Dowd, who spent 4 years saying exactly the opposite, are the ones who took his dead-ass corpse onto that bridge with sunglasses on and put him up on the bridge and let him fall off. He didn't jump off the bridge. He was already dead. But you put a dead body up on a railing of a bridge and it's gonna fall, you know? And that's what ends up happening. And then they did this 2 deluxe CD set, you know? Yeah, they said he threw himself off the bridge. But everyone who saw him up there said that he wasn't moving at all. He was lifeless, you know? Well, you want to know what? You're going to put a dead-ass body on a railing of a bridge, it's going to eventually fall off, you know? They exploit every step, you know? The camera footage, he's not moving in any of it. He's not moving in any of it. The dash cam, he wasn't moving with any of it. You know? He didn't move, and he had sunglasses on. Yeah, because when you're on a bridge, wanting to jump off, you're worried about the sun hitting your eyes. You know, he had sunglasses on, because if he didn't, you would have been able to tell he was already dead. You know? Not to mention that the story has changed. Oh, thanks. I have a green thumb, you know? You can't throw yourself off a bridge. You know, if he was going to throw himself off the bridge, he would have been standing on the railing. You know, if he was going to jump, wouldn't you just stand on the railing if you were going to jump? You know, it was ridiculous. The whole story, not to mention that the story changed. You know, now 4 years later, the story has completely changed. That should be a big red flag. History isn't fluid. The past isn't fluid. You know, what happens in the past, it kind of stays stagnant. Otherwise, it's a lie. You know? Well, I don't know if he was tattooed with "I would never commit suicide," but the fact that he said it the day before in his live video, you know? The fact that he said he wasn't suicidal, and if something happened to him, he didn't do it before, the day before he suddenly... So what made him become psychotic and suddenly kill himself? When he didn't seem suicidal in that last video. That last Periscope live that he did, you know, I've never heard of a tattoo. I didn't hear of any tattoo, you know? Well, you have a lot of people embellishing a lot of shit, you know? Because it's torture porn. They feed into all of this bullshit, and there's no other word for it. It's bullshit, you know? I live in small town Iowa. You can tell someone something and 24 hours later it'll come back to you. And so many people have added their own little flair and embellishment that it ends up, what comes back to you isn't anywhere near what you said before. That's how, you know, it's just... He said it was a recording. He didn't have to tattoo it. Exactly. Isaac wasn't suicidal, he was afraid. Not only was he not suicidal, he was doing everything he could to survive. That's what you saw in that video. He was desperate to survive. He was trying to get through it, to live through it. You know? That's what he was doing. And the very people that have, the Dead Isaac Kappy Club, look at what they've done and then how the story's changed. And let me explain. Daniel Dowd, who spent 4 years saying that he wasn't on the bridge, is the same motherfucker who was actually posting live videos of my town when Owen ended up dead. My friend Owen, same asshole. You know? It's the same group of people. Same people. They dance around with impunity, thinking that they can't be touched. This same dickhead who's convicted of having sex with someone under the age of 12, who thinks it's okay now that he's meeting kids, he's doing all those kids a favor by meeting them online and then meeting them in person, you know? And let me remind everyone, Daniel Dowd, Geo Farnsworth is all part of Tara Joyce's association. Oh yeah, Sherilyn, please like like and subscribe if you can. But if you like the video, like it, you know? It just takes a simple click and it helps. You know? Everyone has to answer for the things that they did. You know, the silence after the kid flicks takedown. Exactly, Gov, they're touched. The only one who's running her mouth is the hag. She's the one who's running her mouth. But that's because she lives in Fresno and they don't get oxygen there. You know? It helps a lot to like the video. If you can like the video, please like the video. You know? And she tags me in the videos that she's doing. She's not talking to Fiona. If she's talking to my family, that means she's reached out to my family. What an obsessive bitch, you know? So you don't like what someone's saying on YouTube? When's the last time you've reached out to people who post on YouTube to their family members? It's bizarre. Fresno, California is known as the toilet bowl of California because of where it's situated in a valley with all the mountain ranges. How, depending on how the wind blows, it gets all of San Francisco's pollution and it gets all of LA's. It gets all of LA's pollution. That's the reason why Fresno has oxygen bars on almost every other block. And when I'm talking, you might want to wonder, what is an oxygen bar? An oxygen bar is exactly what it sounds like. You go in and they hook you up with oxygen so you can breathe in oxygen. So you're not just drinking, you know, breathing in the air. My blog is davidshurter.com. Thank you, Riley. My blog is davidshurter.com. And so, but Fresno has oxygen bars. When I first got there, when we first flew in and we were seeing all these oxygen bars and we were like, what the hell is an oxygen bar? It's exactly what it sounds like. Because the air quality in Fresno is so bad, they hook you up with oxygen. I got super sick just being there for a week. You know? It is very strange. Fresno was awful. Fresno was awful, you know? And cognitive, you're funny, you know? She had to tag me because what she wants me to do is talk shit. All I know about Fiona is that she's not involved with anything, you know? She's not involved with anything. In fact, on the occasion that we do talk, I don't even bring anything up because it'll always end up in an argument because she wants me out of this. After Isaac was murdered, she was done. She was done. She's done now. She took everything, not only is she done, she's taken everything that she's ever done offline. You know? I don't even know if you can find Candy Girl anymore. That's the name of her documentary. I think you can because I think other people have put it up online. But it's not from her. You can't find anything that she's done. You know? And she thinks that I'm all concerned whether or not she's wearing a wig or not. Who cares? You know? As far as I'm concerned, she needs to put a bag over her head because she's one of the ugliest people I've ever known, inside and out. She's terrible. She's an awful person, but then they all are. If you go to Sewer Town, they're all ugly people. Skills, fucking nasty individual. Their souls are ugly. Defango, ugly soul, talks about nasty shit. Daniel Dowd, ugly soul. Geo Farnsworth, ugly soul. Thomas Schoenberger, ugly soul. They all have ugly souls. They talk shit about people. They say nasty shit about people. They never do anything that makes a person's life better for knowing them. You know, I'm not at all concerned. I'm not at all concerned. When they email me and they're insultive, I always have to remind them, you realize that your insults don't work because I would have to respect you to care about what you think. And I don't. So I don't care. You know, say whatever you want. You know, knock yourself out. It says more about them than it does about me. You know, it says way more about them. And the fact that they're actually going to talk, the fact that Tara Joyce is trying to suggest that she's working with Fiona is laughable if it wasn't so pathetic. It's just the dumbest thing I'd ever heard, you know? And so who cares what they have to say? Who cares what they think? They all hide with anonymous. That's at least with Tara Joyce. She uses her name. You know, but she doesn't use her whole real name. And so, but for the most part, they hide with aliases. And Skills, fuck, how many names does she have? Like I said, they all fancy themselves Legion. Because they are many, you know? It's just sad. It's sick that she's trying to drive. But what ends up happening is that she thinks that she can actually, now that they're taking down Virginia Giuffre, they think that they can actually, you know, Thomas has a lot of fake ass accounts, you know, but the truth is out there of him. You know, he can say whatever he wants. The truth is out there. Lots of people have called him out. I'm certainly not the only one. But they have a lot to worry about because investigators are gonna look into this Famalam thing. They're gonna find out that that's one of the programs they're using for all of this child trafficking. You know? Virginia very well could be working with them and playing the part. She very well could. She could be fake. That's what I find out with most survivors, is that they end up jumping ship and helping the bad people. My sister, victim to all of this, but who was the one who was telling everybody that my stepmother was dead for 3 fucking years? My sister. You know? Who's the one who is working directly with Doug Mesner, Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple? My sister. And my family that I'm trying to get exposed. You know? Great. Investigate me. Knock yourself out. Just make sure that you investigate them too. You know? some of them know computers very well. They're very, very adept at computers. And they know the legal system backwards and forwards. That's why they can game the system so well. They can be the most aggressive motherfuckers, but they're the ones who will get the protection order out on anybody who calls them out. That's how it works. They love protection orders. You know? That's how they shut survivors down. I hate to do this, but unless you guys don't care, because I have some hummus. I haven't eaten anything all day. And my blood sugar is just bottoming out. I need to eat. So I'm either going to get off here or I'm going to go down and get my hummus and crackers and you guys are going to have to watch me eat. So okay, I'll leave this up so because the chat's going well. So I'm just going to go grab my hummus and my crackers. You guys are just going to have to watch me eat. I don't eat with my mouth open. I'm not going to drop food. But, okay, give me just a few minutes. Give me just a second. You would think I would be smart enough to eat before I do the Saturdays ones. I love the fact that the chat goes so well. Since I'm getting ready to eat, I have to pray. So I'm going to pray. I actually have I have rice and chicken and vegetables. Hey, Lavinia. So you're going to have to watch me eat, but I'm going to pray quick. So Heaven, we come to you. Thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for bringing us all together. I'm about to eat, so let the food nourish me and fill us with the Holy Spirit and guide us to what you need us to do as a group and as individuals. And let us know that you're with us. If we're feeling down or low, just remind us that you're there. And the lot of us are all together. There is an army of us here, and I'm grateful for that, helping people. And please let me eat in peace, so I'm not gonna be inundated with 3 garbage disposals who are already all 3 at my feet. But we're grateful that you sent your son, our brother Jesus Christ, down to teach us the word and lead a life that we're able to emulate as best as we can. And thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for busting this huge pedophile ring and let all the others crumble down with it. And we say these things with gratefully and with as much love from our souls can muster, in your son and our brother's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay. Yeah, you guys need to be careful about not commenting too much or too fast. That's for everybody. Especially me, because I can't see but 3 or 4 lines on my phone. And I get caught up. And so we're trying to actually get people to, that's one of the reasons why Sherilyn is helping. And I apologize. You guys are talking in the room, and I'll continue talking, but I don't talk with my mouth full of food. And I'm sorry that you guys have to watch me eat. But I've been up since 2:30 and haven't eaten anything all day. And I'm starving. So I got this yesterday. I eat a lot of chicken and rice. I broadcast on my phone. I post on my phone. I do almost everything on my phone. I have to be very careful because they break into my house, so I know that they've been and I have a really old laptop that's changing, but even then, I can't leave it here because they get on my stuff. And so I'm afraid of them, I hate having to live so defensively. No desktop computer. No. And even with my phone, I'm careful with that because they're just on top of everything, You are a little piglet. I know this Middle Eastern place that I go to, and I can buy this. It's rice with saffron in it, and it's just chicken and like peppers and tomatoes and onions, and it's like $11, and it's a great meal. I eat a lot of chicken and rice. Mm. Thank you. And you. Like I said, some of you guys donated. And that just... I ended up going out, and I rarely eat out. So I don't eat that much because starvation is great. If you really want to lose weight, don't eat for a few days. It shrinks your stomach, and then when you do eat, you can't eat a lot of food. So I went to this place because I knew it was mostly vegetables and rice, because I eat a lot of vegetables and rice and chicken. I don't eat a whole lot of red meat. For one, it's super expensive. You know, right now I don't know what it's like there, but in small town Iowa here, a pound of hamburger is about $6. And a pound of hamburger doesn't go very far, you know? Chicken doesn't go very far, but I can get vegetables. They're not organic, but, you know, I don't eat every day, and as bad as it sounds, one of my mainstays for me is popcorn. I'll pop a bowl of popcorn, and that's what I'll eat for a day. You know, I'm eating this, and then I won't eat anything pretty much for the rest of the day. And I don't like to eat at night because it costs, yeah, $50 for a T-bone. That's around here. I live in small town Iowa, and if you go get a steak, a lot of times, a steak, just like a New York strip, can cost you $25. I can't afford $25 for one steak for one meal, you know? What's great about this is that this chicken and rice thing, I ate half of it yesterday, and then I have enough for another meal. So it cost $11, which seems kind of a lot, but $11 for 2 meals is pretty reasonable, I think. I do not make popcorn on the stove. I have this amazing microwave popcorn thing. I don't have to add oil or anything. And it's made out of that silicone stuff that you can get for baking. And it's amazing. The popcorn is so great. It's microwave popcorn, so it's crunchy. I don't like air popped because air popped is disgusting. Los Angeles. I couldn't afford to feed myself in Los Angeles. Dark chocolate is my favorite. I'm a Coca-Cola person, but I hardly ever drink pop. I can go get these waters. This is a cherry limeade water. This cost me 79 cents, you know? Ooh, where do you go? Well, it's organic. See, $12 a pound, I just can't afford that. But I will say that I love to go to that Asian market on 24th Street in Omaha and just walk around because the food is amazing. Thank you, Lavinia. It's nice to see you here today, you know? East Coast doesn't say pop. I can't, because I don't drink a lot of pop anymore, I can't drink a lot of pop. And if I do go out, Iced tea is generally what I drink. It's like 24th. It's not L Street, but it's not all the way to Q Street too. But it's on 24th. Actually, it's like 25th Street. You know, it's kind of not. But I love the shops on 24th Street. You know, want to hear hubby's dad joke about pop? Sure. I'd love to teach people how to sew. You know. All right, just a little piece. Now you guys are watching how bad I am. Bridget, are you up here? Come here. Because it's just been us for all their lives. See, that's why I like to go to Korea. That's what it is. It's an Asian market, so it's Korean, but it's all Asian food, and I can go get a huge thing of rice, and because I eat a lot of rice, I like to make rice, and then dump tomatoes in there, like a canned thing of stewed tomatoes, and eat that. That's one of my favorite things to eat. And it's cheap. A mini soda. God, grown. I've heard it. But my piglets are right here because they want to eat. They want some too. And I apologize I'm eating in front of you guys. I'm almost done. Fred Meyer is expensive. They had one in Seattle. Oh my God, it was expensive. In Omaha, my most favorite place to shop, grocery shopping, is Super Saver in Council Bluffs. That's the cheapest place to buy, you know, it's, yeah, cognitive, but I'm eating in front of people. If I was you guys, and I was just in chat, I wouldn't care. I would just eat all the time. Yeah, well, Saki, if I lived around you, I would be fat. Because, like I've told you, you're like Amish. I thought out at the food bank they gave me a whole chicken. And I have a whole chicken in the refrigerator that I need to cook. And I don't know how I want to cook it. You know? I might just boil it, because if I boil it, then I can debone it and mix it with pasta and make a casserole, and that'll feed me for several days. All right, one more bite. That's it. There you go. Bridget. I'm not actually being disgusting with you guys. When I'm here by myself and there's no one watching, sometimes I'll feed the dogs with my own fork, and then I'll still eat with my fork. But they give me kisses all the time, so I figure, what difference does it make, you know? But I don't do that when people are watching because I think it would gross people out. I'm not much of a germaphobe, to be quite honest. I don't worry about it. Usually I have a pretty strong 3:51 a.m. in Australia. I would be just getting up, you know? Thank you, Lavinia. They are my babies. When they were puppies, I would go to bed at night and they'd all get underneath the covers. They still get underneath the covers. We have a whole ritual with all of them because they all have their place underneath the covers. And so they got it. But when they were puppies, it would work that in the middle of the night, they would get out from underneath the covers, but they're very tactile. They're always on top of me. They always have to be pressed against me. So in the morning, I would wake up and they'd be laying on top of the covers, on top of me. And since they were puppies, the minute I started to stir and they realized that I was waking up, as gross it is, I would have puppies French kissing me because they would be licking me so hard and I was trapped under the covers because they were big. And so I couldn't get out from underneath the covers and they would kiss and I couldn't stop it and their tongue would go in between my teeth and my lips. It was gross, but it was fun. I mean, because they have always been loving. I love rice. Thank you, Luna. I like these lives, especially on Saturdays, when I feel like I've been able to help people and you guys get questions answered and all of that. This is the first time ever I've ever eaten in front of people, but I couldn't help it. My blood sugar was bottoming out and I was starting to just get that panicky feeling. Hey, LOL. I see that. Thank you. I like the likes. Just because likes end up helping people, they end up getting, they end up seeing the videos more when you have more likes. And this one, like on Saturdays, I always try to get all of the important stuff out at the very beginning. And then on Saturdays, like I said, I leave these open if, sometimes I'll go until the battery starts to wear out. And I have 55%. And I've been on here for an hour and a half. So it could be, if I stay on here for 3 hours on Saturdays, I don't care, because I think that because you guys end up chatting so much and there's so much activity where you guys are answering questions and stuff, all of that, we are all due to have good people energy surrounding us now. Exactly, Lavinia. We're all contributing to each other. And so I like being able to open this up and let people we get to exchange ideas, we get to talk. And sometimes it's about nothing, just fun stuff, Smokey, you're a good guy. Go ahead and post go ahead and post a link to your channel and ask for likes. I don't care. You know, we're all meant to help each other. It's, that's why I say when I do this, you know, it is not have a friend who is massively traumatized and stuck in MK Ultra trafficking. Do you have a way to address this? Therapy. Unfortunately, the whole thing about it is that therapy, being able to actually talk to someone who is a therapist and just allow it, because what ends up happening, my experience is that with my training and all of that, talking it and hearing it out loud makes a huge bit of difference. But the problem is, yeah, that's the hard thing, is trying to find someone who gets it. You know, you can always tell her to come in here. There's trauma victims in here. Sometimes you just need to hear it out loud. And you know, it's hard to find a therapist. My therapist was great. When I first got together with my therapist, she had never met anybody that had the stuff that I had. She'd never heard the issues, so she was brand new, but she was totally open-minded. And so it ended up helping because she learned right along with helping me, and she'd already knew techniques, so it helped out a lot, you know? Weed would be my therapy if I could really afford weed. If I could afford, I have my medical marijuana license. You know, I think I have to reapply. It's over this month. At the end of this month, I have to get a new one. And now it's gone up, so it's like $130. I'm a big fan of pot. I'm not a big fan of all the medication that they try and put you on. I don't like the medication that they put you on. Well, first of all, they tell you that they don't know how it's going to affect you, so you're like a guinea pig to that stuff. Because some pills affect some people one way, you know. Oh. I've heard a lot of good things about Marc Passio. I'm in Iowa. That's why I know that medical marijuana. You have to apply for your medical marijuana license every year. I didn't know that when I got one. I thought, oh, well, you just do it. The places, LOL, that you can go to, you can get lower pot, the you know, lower THC levels. But the thing that I like is you can also get high THC levels. You know, one hit and then quit, or one or two hits, and that's. When I went to Washington, it had become recreational. And I was used to being in Iowa, so the pot really wasn't all that strong. So I go and get this like 97% THC, and I roll a blunt like I always do. And I'm driving home from Seattle, and I only live 23 miles away in Algona. The last 20 minutes of my ride was the most horrible ride worst time I've ever had. Because I had smoked, I probably had like 10 hits off of it. And by the time I was 20 minutes away from home, I had to roll down my window and stick my head out the window. And the sound, I was so high, it was so awful. So awful. It caught me completely. So I learned never, with the good stuff, you know. Obviously, you shouldn't drive high anyway, but you know, when you're young, you're kind of stupid. THCA is not weed. Iowa is about ready to become recreational. They're about ready to make it recreational legal. Which makes sense because now with all the tariffs, China's not buying all the stuff. So what I see happening is that they're going to end up making it recreational, and then the farmers are going to start growing pot. That's how it's going to work, is the farmers are going to start growing pot. Usually, Katie, I make the rice and then I add the tomatoes. Delta 8 doesn't do shit for me. And I figured, why do Delta 8? Because you're just ruining your lungs and not having anything, you know? It's funny, into if I smoke, I end up not wanting to eat. It has the exact same opposite effect on me than it does on most people. I will smoke, and it won't occur to me to lay on the couch. What ends up happening is that usually I'll get high and then clean my whole house. That's what ends up happening. And I'm not hungry hardly ever. You know, pot for me is a great appetite suppressant. You know? Right. Delta 8 isn't even THCA. You might as well smoke embalming fluid. And THCA is okay. That's kind of what, you know, that's the stuff that they sell in Omaha. THCA, I think, is okay. You know, it gets you high. I'm not a kid anymore. So my tolerance, especially since I don't ever have any money for pot, oh my God, I would love to get some. And so THC, I can load a bowl of THC and smoke on that bowl for a couple days because I just have a few hits and then I'm fine. I don't want to be all, you know. I'm just too old and I have too much stuff to do. You know, I can't be all brain dead. Smoking Delta 8 is like smoking ditchweed, you know? And we get up with 5 a.m. with farm animals. I like gummies. Actually, I do like gummies. The problem that I have with gummies is your body adapts to those a lot more. And so what I've found is that you eat gummies and then you need more gummies to actually have the same effect. Kraton, that's the same thing too. You do Kraton and your body gets adjusted to it. And so, but usually with pot, I want to stay home and do stuff. Right, we don't want to be like sewer town rat burnouts. You know? You guys will never see me get high while I'm on these lives. I don't want to do a lot. I want to be totally focused and present while I'm doing this stuff. If I'm going to get high, it means that I can just get high and just, you know, and I can't sew when I'm high. And the whole wake and bake thing that I used to do when I was 19, 20 years old in college, Kratom makes me grouchy. That's why I have found that with Kratom, it ends up, if I do it, because I did it for like 3 days. I had someone who had given me some kratom, and it was nice. But the thing that I don't like about kratom is that I end up after a while it starts to make me a bitch, and I don't realize I'm being a bitch, and I don't need anything to help make me a bitch because I can be a bitch just all on my own. I don't need anything to give me help being a bitch. And so it makes me a bit aggressive. And so that's what I don't like about it. Pot doesn't do that for me. I can be a bitch. I think everybody in here knows. It's part of being a survivor. I have really tense boundaries. And when I was younger, I let people just walk all over those boundaries. And now as an adult, as an old man now, not so much. Oh, thank you for the shout out. And like and share, at least like the video. If you watch this stuff, do like. And keep sending questions to that Shurter mod. It's, Sherilyn has been just, everyone needs to give her a hand of applause because she's helped a lot with this. She's been great. And there's been, I'm glad you're back, Lavinia. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that everyone's here. Riley, Into, I like every live you do. Things are getting better, But I like it better when we're not talking about Sewer Town and the pedophiles and all of that, and we just start to, like now, we're just able to have conversations, Do you have to go out? Oh, you are a pain in my butt. Oh, thank you for those kisses. No, there is nothing over there for you. There is nothing over there for you. You want to go outside? Do you have to go potty? Do you have to go potty? She thinks that she's a lapdog. I just like it when I prefer Saturdays. I really do like Saturdays. Because we're able to just come in here and talk. And, all right, you guys got to give me a minute. My puppies need to go outside, so I'll be right back. I'm going to go out. All right, I'm coming. And I really like the fact, sorry, I got hair in my mouth, ick, that I can leave and know that you guys, I see that. Thank you, Sharon. Oh, thank you. I got my hair, cut it short. If I cut my hair short, I have to get my hair cut every 6 weeks. And I can't afford a haircut every 6 weeks. It's like $30. With tip, $35, $40. And so I just started to let it grow. And now it's just It's gotten long, but I usually have it tied up. And you guys seem to like my long hair too, you know? It's not supposed to be cut or we've been born with scissors for fingers, you know? I'm just gonna let it grow. However long it grows, you know, I'm just gonna let it grow. I will say thank you so much, everyone. The last live, especially, people donated and thank you so much because I was out of conditioner. And my hair needed conditioner so bad. And I ended up, you guys just saw how I treated myself. I ended up going and getting that meal because I never eat out because I'm just $11 for a meal that I can fit in two, eat twice. That's okay. I really don't get a lot of split ends. I mean, my hair it's thin, but it's, you know, but then I use biotin, the stuff that actually strengthens your hair, and biotin and superfruit blend is the conditioner I get from Sally's. And I also got this hair mask thing that's biotin. But I get frizzies up on top, as you can tell. I don't like that. That's the reason why if I cut my hair short, then I'm having to pay $30 every month, but then I also have to pay for product for my hair. This way, with long hair, I don't put any product in my hair. If I do put product in my hair, I have this castor oil stuff, this dark Jamaican castor oil that I'll put on and just put it in my hair because it's more like a conditioner for my hair. Smokey, you've turned your life around, you know? I'm so glad that you actually shared your story with people because it was inspirational. That you can be down in the trenches and struggling really hard and actually pull yourself out of it. It takes some time. I'm just not gonna, if I went and got my hair cut now, maybe they could style it so it laid, but it's okay. I haven't gotten my hair cut probably in a year now. And like I said, usually what I'll do is just, if I go out and about, I just put it up. I don't have the thing that sticks on top of my head because I have thin in the back. But, and a friend of mine, well, he works in town. He's like this biker dude. He has long hair. And what he ended up doing is he puts ties. One tie that's close, and then two more ties. So it's like just like this long. I love that. I do that to my hair sometimes too, especially if I'm going to go driving and I want the windows down, because that way I don't have to wear a hat, but it holds my hair. Because man, that wind hits your hair when you have long hair, and it's in your face and your eyes and your mouth. The problem with dreadlocks is that you can't wash your hair. And I'm really kind of anal about washing my hair. And I condition it. I condition my hair a lot. I may not wash my hair every day, but I condition my hair a lot. I probably put conditioner in my hair at least 4 times a week. Sometimes 5. Sometimes I'll just pull it up because I don't want to get my hair wet, but, you know. Oh, I didn't see what Lavinia said. See, the conversation gets, that's the reason why Sherilyn has actually gotten everybody to calm down on commenting all the time. Because right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 lines. most of it's Riley. I see Smokey, but I only get 4 lines. So if you type in a paragraph thing, and then other people type in 2 or 3 things, I miss stuff because I don't see it. And that's the reason why Sherilyn is on top of people of don't respond to every single person every single time. And so I have not heard of Old World Florida, but I love history. I love American history too. No into, you're not blocked. Thank you, Lavinia. I mean, people can comment. It's just that I know people kind of get excited when they're talking. So if each one of you are commenting on every single thing that everything is said, I miss a lot of the conversation and I can't keep up with it. And so Sherilyn and I, again, a lot of the improvements that are happening with this live is because Sherilyn has helped a lot. Sherilyn has been, YouTube is weird too. And they get on top of me. Well, the weird thing about it is that I had this scheduled, and then when I went to go do it, it wouldn't allow me to go back into what I had already scheduled. But then Sherilyn texted me and said, hey, you have 6 people waiting on you. I just had to set up a new one, And so I was hoping everyone would find this. I never had a problem with, because I had long hair when I was in Washington, and then I got it cut when I came to Iowa because I was just like, okay, I'm coming to Iowa. I don't want to have long hair when I came to Iowa. And I didn't notice anything really, like with my intuition and stuff like that. I didn't really notice anything. But I will say that I kind of like having long hair. I actually feel like I'm more myself with long hair. And because when I get it cut, I mean, when I have my hair cut, it's 1/4 of an inch. I get my hair cut. And I'm glad, sometimes put dots in between words because YouTube wants to block, I will say, Riley, there's an ugly stage to hair. You have to actually go through that ugly stage. Now I'm past the ugly stage, so now my hair can grow and it won't bake. When you're from short hair going to long hair, there's a good, well, for me it was 2 or 3 months where my hair just looked like crap. I thought looked like crap. And there's nothing you can do because you just let it go, so I would cut it all off. But this last time I didn't have money to go cut it off. Poverty is, eat or get your hair cut. Guess which one, usually. Feet on the ground. I'm a buzz cut dude. When I had short hair, I was a buzz cut. I had a little bit of length on the top for bangs, only because I've always had a high hairline. It looks like I'm losing my hair, and I am now at 58, but my hairline was always high. And so I always had it really, when I cut it, it's 1/4 of an inch or less. But now I'm done with the haircuts. And I will say, I get a lot of attention from women with the long hair. Women seem to like long hair. I mean, I guess that's probably a sexist thing, but nope, because you're hot. We'll just agree to disagree. It's not like I don't have a mirror. for a gay dude. I'm not a gym rat anymore. But, you know, I've actually had people out here argue with me. They just, they don't believe that I'm gay. You're like Legolas. Oh, if only. That would be cool, though. I wouldn't mind being an elf, like Legolas. I love Lord of the Rings, though. It's my favorite. You know? Dark is giving you flowers. I liked Lord of the Rings. The cool thing about it is it on Cinemax right now, or Max. I think it's Max. I don't know if they call it Cinemax, but they have the extended versions of Lord of the Rings, which I have on DVD. But if you like Lord of the Rings, it's so much better to watch the extended versions because one of them adds like an hour to the movie. But if you were a fan of the books, you know, see, I'm glad my sister Cindy and my brother Steven got my parents' looks. My parents, my mom and my dad, when they were young, were like movie star, beautiful. And I was always ugly. As I'm older, oh yeah, one of them adds like, it makes so much of a difference. Oh my God, the extended version is amazing. You know, way different. There's stuff that they had on the movie version cuts that don't make a whole lot of sense because you don't have the understanding of what's going on. But the extended version, I think it's the second one, not Return of the King, but the Two Towers. It was the Two Towers. I think there's like 45 minutes more to it, 45, 50 minutes. But the Twin Towers. I believe it's the Twin Towers. It's the second one. Yeah, Fellowship of the Ring, Twin Towers, Return of the King. So it's the second one. It adds 45 minutes, but each one has additions to it. And so I am a big fan. If you can get Max right now, they have the extended version of all three. It ends up being like 11 hours, you know, because the movies themselves were like 3 hours apiece in the movie theater. But if you're sitting at home, who cares? You just stop it and then start it whenever you want to do it. The extended version is so much better, you know. See, I can get Cinemax on my phone. For my thing, it's $10, and I get Netflix and Max for $10. I get both of them, and it costs me $10 a month. And I do a lot of streaming, and because I don't, cable is stupid. I think people who spend $100 for cable. I loved the Harry Potter movies. I didn't read the books because I couldn't get into the books, but I liked the movies. You know, I watched Mr. Nobody. I really liked Mr. Nobody. Oh, you can put any jokes you want in here. I think Harry Potter, I think those movies are amazing too. You know? Does Magellan cost money? Peacock costs money. I would do Peacock if I wasn't doing the other ones. But I think Peacock right now has my big fat Greek Wedding 3, and oh my God, I wish that I could see that again. Magellan is $5.99, but it's really good. I can't afford any more. I have the Disney Hulu thing on my phone. I get that through my phone, and I have the Netflix Max one that I get through my phone company. And then I watch a lot of Tubi. Crushing on Pete Davidson. I like Pete Davidson because he came out and actually talked about battling his own issues. I do have Amazon Prime. I have Amazon Prime though because I am poor. I get a really discounted rate on it, and so it costs me what $5.99 a month for Amazon Prime. So I get the movies, but then I'm also able to order stuff for free with free shipping, and my fish stuff. A lot of the dog stuff that I have to get, I end up getting on Amazon Prime. And so, you know, Mr. Nobody is about a man who lives multiple timelines and can't figure out who he is. Free will and choice. Another good movie is Everything All at Once. I don't know, that's not, it's I've never been a big wrestling fan. I think it's hokey. But that's just me, you know? I want to see Wicked, but you have to pay for it. And when I was at Walmart, even the cheap version is $20, just the DVD. And again, $20 when there's just other things I can spend on that. But I will say, as crazy as it is, as dumb as it may sound, I loved Wonka. I loved Wonka, and I love Dune. The new Dune. Dune 1 and 2, because it's closer to the original, you know? I liked Meet the Millers. Dirk Gently's motto is everything is connected. People are going to watch this and just probably this live and probably just get bored, but Saturdays are just so much more fun for me because everyone's engaged. Dr. Odyssey. Thank you, Lavinia. I just watched something on Netflix that was 6 hours or 6 episodes. It was about these rich people and then someone got murdered. And it took me forever to watch it. Because I get bored with television. Sitting in front of a television and actually watching, that's the reason why I don't go to the movie theater. Because I just don't have... It's by the time the movie is almost up, I'm like just bugging to get out of there. I've never seen Yellowstone. I've heard a lot about it. Television does fry the brain. I will say though, the 3 movies that I did go see at the movie theater and loved it was Lord of the Rings. I think that's the last group that I saw. I've never been a big fan of Westerns. Although I do like that one with the Westerns that they mixed aliens with it. I don't remember what it's called. I like the YouTube, I watch a lot of YouTube. But then YouTube is short and quick. That's why I like TikTok. I couldn't think of it. That's why I like TikTok. It was epic to see Lord of the Rings, and I had to see every single one of them. My ex hated them. The war that never ends. Oh, great, we're in another war. Oh, look, another battle. Oh, great. But I loved Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. Those were, I don't have YouTube Premium. And I've never gotten YouTube Premium because I'm afraid, because YouTube Premium is expensive. And I'm afraid that if I got it, I've never tried the month. It always wants to give me a month free, but I've never done it because I don't want to get used to having YouTube with no commercials. Because then I would have to have YouTube with no commercials because I watch a lot of YouTube. You know, I would get used to it. But because none of my other things, Amazon Prime has commercials, Max has commercials, Netflix has commercials. They all have commercials. And I'm okay, but YouTube, I think that if I did it and didn't have commercials for YouTube, I would have to have it. And it's expensive. And but what sucks about YouTube is if you're watching something and you're not right there to hit skip, some of those commercials are like 20 minutes long, it seems like. It's just amazingly stupid, you know? I hate the commercials on YouTube. They kind of irritate me. Some are so long. Some of those commercials on YouTube are so long. 30 minutes if you're watching on television. Who the fuck wants to sit and watch a commercial for 30 minutes? If anything, it would make me not want to buy their product because it would piss me off. Why would I want to watch a commercial for 30 minutes? That's the only thing that I say about, the ones on Max and Netflix and all of that. They're just like 30-second commercials. I can deal with the 30-second commercial, and it's usually a few commercials thrown in there, you know? Oh, Saki, you're living my nightmare. Hell, for me, would be stuck in a house with kids. Basically stuck anywhere with kids. I mean, that sounds shitty, but I was at a friend's store today, and this woman had 3 kids, and I almost left because I didn't want to be in there because her kids were just... The 2 boys got into a fight. One of them kicked the other kid. I was about ready to lose my mind. And I was in there to actually deal with business stuff, but I couldn't because my friend who owns the store was having to deal with these people. And when that woman took her kids, I looked at my friend and said, that is the reason why I feel like I was blessed being gay. I never had kids, you know? Now, when I'm old and in a nursing home dying because there's no one to take care of me, then I'll probably feel bad that I didn't have kids. But, I just... Okay, well, that's true, but I don't have any pot. Oh my God, I would... My kingdom for a blunt, you know? You're supposed to go, my kingdom for a horse, but my kingdom for a blunt. But of course, if you give me a blunt, you're going to be sad because I don't have much of a kingdom, you know? So, okay, well, I'll say that I don't like college kids either, you know? I guess that, you know, if you're like 30 or above, I'm all for hanging out with you. But if you're like in your 20s, especially your early 20s, and if you're younger than that, like I said, if you start off a sentence saying, my mom and dad think, I'm not the one. I'm not the one. You need to go find someone else. You know, I'm not the one. I won't know what to say to you. It'll be really uncomfortable because I'll be really uncomfortable. You know, there are some really good kids. But most of the time who I want to slap is the parents. Today, that woman, I wanted to slap her. You know, get your kids under control. You know, but You guys out east are having like the most amazing, terrible weather, but they're saying that Tornado Alley has now switched. Has moved over. And they're expecting some really, really, really big earthquakes. We've had some. 6.9. That one was what, 7? A little over 7. But they're talking 8 and 9. You know, especially if you watch Stefan Burns. Now, he kind of, not really, but this last one that I just watched, he kind of dissed on Dutch Sense, and I didn't much appreciate that because I really like Dutch Sense. I really like Dutch Sense, and I think that what he does actually makes a lot of sense. And so, but you guys are getting a lot of tornadoes. A lot of tornadoes. I love Dutch Sense. Stefan Burns is a geophysicist who actually, he's been doing a lot of reporting on the sun and the stuff. So he's on YouTube. If you're interested in the sun and the solar flares, we haven't really had a lot of solar flares because the coronal masses are just, ooh, Ben from Suspicious Observers does a daily 3 to 4 minute. I would like that. Watch cussing because it won't come up. If you cuss, it stops it. Which is funny because a lot of times when I was doing these lives, I thought it was the bad guys. But what's happening is that people will use cuss words and it was doing. Again, everybody needs to give Sherilyn a big round of applause because she's helping a huge amount with these lives. She's been doing a lot of work, and I cannot begin to express how appreciative I am. The weather has been frightening, Lavinia. Flooding and hail and just crazy stuff. There is no real topic right now. It's kind of just an open forum. Everyone's talking. We're just bringing up all kind of... Right now, we're talking just about how crazy the weather is. If you go back to the very beginning, you'll hear all I had to say about Sewer Town and the stuff that was going on. I got all the business stuff out the first 40 minutes. But this one might end up being a 3-hour one. But on Saturdays, I get the business side out of the way. So like the first hour is the business stuff, the stuff that, what I would usually do during the week. Please like the video too. But on Saturdays, after I'm done with that, we can go 2 hours and I'm just interacting with everyone in the chat. And there's no real, the topics are kind of all over the place. It's just whatever anyone wants to bring up and then people start talking. And it's more of a community. And I'm really glad that it's starting to become the community and it's not just all about me. I don't have to be on all the time. If you go back and watch it, unfortunately, there's 20, 30 minutes where you had to watch me eat, but I do feel way better. Thank you, Smokey. You always do. You rock, But, like, Saturdays are just, and this last week, I think I did 4 during the week. I mean, I did several this week, Oh, thank you. The venting ones, I have a hard time listening to me vent and yell. And so I just figure no one else wants to hear it either. And, but yeah, I agree, Lavinia. The vibe is, on Saturdays, the vibe is really chill. Everyone is just talking and having a good time. And this couldn't happen a lot without Sherilyn. Sherilyn is just, I'm grateful that you guys actually have said thank you because event is needed. Saki always says that too. I know that you guys kind of like the vent ones. And there are times when I am, well, you've seen, I'm so pissed off that I end up just bitching, and I appreciate him. I mean, I appreciate being able to get that off my chest. But really, when it comes down to it, as far as my own mental health, I like these better. Are the rumors after a mass child trafficking? I bet it, yeah. That's what was happening at the Thailand one when they had that tsunami. They they traffic kids anytime that there's kids without parents. They're trafficked. You know, they make too much money off of that. And so I wouldn't be surprised. The biggest human trafficking event in America every year is the Super Bowl. That's where kids get trafficked the most, is Super Bowl. But, you know, it is under the alias of good deeds. We're going in there and we're going to help these kids. Oh, yeah. You're going to help yourself to those kids. That's the truth. The kids don't get helped. And so we just live in bad days. 100 missing kids never explained in the Maui fires. Exactly. You know? They never explained. And when you have people who actually, like Virginia Giuffre, who come out, now she just gets into an accident, she's in renal failure, she's dying, and they're charging her with breaking a protection order. So while she's laying in the hospital dying, they bust her for breaking a protection order just to shut her up. You know? There was a lot of weirdness from those Maui fires. And since those Maui fires, I think she's still alive, but she's suffering. People in Australia know better than I do. I haven't heard, but yes, I think she's still alive. You know? The thing with the Maui fires, I will say, it's hard for me to watch a Dwayne Johnson movie anymore. It is, and Oprah, you know, it's disgusting that they're going in and giving people pennies on the dollar for their land so that they can just land grab. But that's what's happening with all of these, you know, they're going in and just doing land grabs. Oh, the Las Vegas shooter. Even though there were several windows broken out on several different floors. So how did one shooter break out so many different windows on different floors? I guess he had a teleporter machine, you know? And they tell people that shit, and people don't even question it, but then the media says, oh, well, there was a window broken on this, and a broken window on there, and a broken thing. So, what the fuck? Did he have a teleporter machine? Boomerang bullets, exactly. You know? They just released the JFK files, so now everyone is back to believing the magic bullet theory. That bullet that went in and out and curved around and did circles and danced and went up and went down and ooh, you know? Exactly how does that work? You know? And you can see different flashes. It was more than one person. It was more than one person. You know? Brush junkie, anomalous weather, hurricanes, fires. These tornadoes that are fire tornadoes. I've never seen anything like that, you know? Right now, Russia is trafficking those kids, you know? When they're not raping the kids and murdering them in front of their parents. Because that's what's happening in Ukraine. You know? And we're all supposed to celebrate because Benjamin Netanyahu, the dictator from Hungary, said, oh, well, he's not guilty of war crimes at all. Oh, we have a lot of bad actors in this world who seem to be running things. And there's, anti-Semitism. I do agree, Lavinia. It's nice that they tried to get here, but again, you can appreciate Sherilyn for all of that because Sherilyn catches them and gets rid of them. It's just, Sherilyn, just make sure that you take screenshots because I've gotten to the point where I don't use screenshots, and they also use foul language, so it catches, it doesn't get to come up because they swear a lot. And that's why I don't swear, because it moderates your stuff. But when they come in here, make sure you get screenshots. I haven't really noticed anything much today, but Sherilyn is doing an amazing job because she catches them and gets rid of them. The last one, I didn't even know what the dude said, and she blocked him, but I knew that he had said something weird before, and it's just so much easier for me. It's so much nicer for me not to have to be on top of this, and I have to block people. And Sherilyn is good because she'll give you a break. She'll put you in a timeout before she blocks you. And I never did that. Because it was just too much for me to do these lives and play around with their games. So she is the garbage eliminator, Ooh, I need a nap too. It's 2:00. I was supposed to I was going to go rake today, but I got busy doing other stuff. And then I had to go see some people in their shops today. And now I've been on here. And once I get done with these lives, especially on Saturday, I don't feel like doing a whole lot. It's just kind of like, I like these Saturdays because they're so relaxed that it's nice to just bask in the glow of the good energy. It is a lot to manage for one person. And we've had beautiful weather. It's beautiful weather out here. After I get off here, I'm thinking I'm going to go to the Hallmark store. Because the woman who owns the Hallmark store, she's really nice. And someone has gotten me into the point where now I'm getting cards. Even though now I'm not going to put my return address because I mailed a card from inside the post office. And someone didn't get that card. And so now I don't want them to know because now I think that there's just... I don't pay any attention to Noreen Gosh. There could be. It's probably the same old shit. Stay tuned because she's about ready to break everything open. She's been about ready to break everything open for 40 fucking years now. She's about ready to break everything open. Just buy her book. But she doesn't even send her book off. Now, I will say that there is someone who's been waiting for a book. And I haven't gotten it off, but it gets to go out on Monday. So, but usually I'm really good. It's just that if I can't do it through the post office and I have to do it through UP or through FedEx or UPS, that requires me going to Omaha and actually doing it. And so it's the same old, She's about ready to break it open. But I will say in my defense, unlike Noreen Gosh, people buy her books and then she doesn't send the books off. At least I send my books off, Now I forgot one. Well, Cognitive. Bought a book and I completely spaced it off, so she had to remind me. But if you remind me, sometimes I'm just I'm kind of dense sometimes, and I get so caught up with stuff in life that things escape my head, my mind. No, she gives me more than the creeps, Lavinia. She makes my butt hairs rise. Gross. It is sunny. It is beautiful outside. It is beautiful outside. It's only about 50 degrees, but it's sunny. And, oh, I am going to go outside. I go out back. I poop scoop. The dogs want to go outside, and so I end up going outside with them in the back. And, I'll probably do a little bit of yard work. I have a bunch of yard work that I have to get caught up in. I mean, I didn't do a lot last year. Oh, yeah. They're right here. Aurora went downstairs because she's thinking that eventually I'm going to come down. She's going to get something more to eat. I charged $30 for the book. It cost me $15 to get a book. It would cost me less if I bought a huge amount of them, but who can afford a huge amount? So the amount, I usually get 10, so it costs me about $15 a book. And so really, and if you're in the United States, it costs me $5 to mail it at UPS. So I'm only making about 10 bucks on a book. But just get a hold of me, Smokey, because people do nice things for me. So when I can, I try to do nice things for other people. It's a give and take. It's just that poverty sucks. I've been praying to win the lottery. 30 bucks. 30 bucks is, and I inscribe it. I do pay it forward. And I liked it, and it's signed, so I need to know who I'm inscribing it to because I always put a message in there and sign it. And then I need to know where I'm mailing it. But it's only $30 for the United States. When you're in Australia, it's not even worth buying the book from me because it cost me $40 to mail a book to Australia. And so it's just, Lavinia, you're very kind too. A lot of you are super kind. People in here are just amazing people. It's just I think everyone in here does what they can when they can. And when you can't do it, then you just can't do it. There's some things that I just can't do, But when I can do it, I like to do it. And the whole paying it forward thing is just, some of you are super, super broke, and I know that it's, I know that it's hard. So when I can, I like to do it. I can't do it all the time because by the end of the month, I'm lucky to eat, unfortunately. I mean, it's just, I think it's like that for a lot of people. When you only I make a little under $1,000 a month, but the bills that have to come out, my insurance alone, and my utilities are just outrageously terrible. And so right now, people are broke. People are broke. And we're afraid. People are afraid. I have lost sleep over finances. I've lost sleep over finances. $700 in Australia is pittance, I am starting to make tote bags. I'm starting to work on bags. I'm starting to work on artwork and bags because I figured that I'm going to feel better if I have stuff that I'm selling. Instead of just asking for donations, I think if I start selling stuff, I'm going to feel better about myself, you know? And because people helped me out the last live, that's why I'm not asking. I'm not asking for anything today because I'm not greedy. I'm not, I have enough right now. I mean, for me, I have enough. Am I swimming in cash? No, absolutely not. But am I able to eat? Yeah. And it allowed me to use my check to pay all my bills, so that's taken care of. And so I just now, of course, we're at the first of the month. So when we get to the end of the month, but it's like that. It's an ebb and tide. But when I have stuff, you sure can. You sure can, Lavinia. Thank you for letting me know that. Gives me some nice ideas. I'm the bags generally, because I end up doing super stuff, because I like to do beading on bags and stuff like that. And so the bags generally, I will warn everyone, will probably be about 2 to 225. But I'm gonna make it to where it's worth it. And art on a bag. I like to do art on a bag. So that when you carry your bag around, people are gonna comment on your bag. That's what I want. People can say, wow, where did you get that bag? It's an amazing bag. I'm also working on, I went out and got these panels of scripture stuff. And so I'm going to start doing bags that have scripture stuff on there as well, too. Because I think that a lot of us I just figure if you have a bag and it has like a scripture something on it, it'll give you an opportunity to actually bring that up. I like doing beading and sparkles and gems, Lavinia. I like to do that. And that's just it, Smokey. I tell you what, send Sherilyn an email. Because Sherilyn, and I'm going to do zippers. Some people don't like zippers on there. So I'm going to do some with zippers, some with not. I like to do pockets. I like to do pockets on the inside, not on the outside. And it does take a little bit more time. But I like doing stuff like that, and I like doing the art stuff so that people will notice. And the quilt bags. I did a bag for someone that it was the drunken sailor thing. So it's a square with a circle in it, but each quarter of the square is different fabric, and each quarter of the circle is different fabric. And so Smokey, just get an email to Sherilyn. Sherilyn is kind of not only my moderator in here, but she's kind of like my producer, and eventually she'll end up being my business manager. Sherilyn and I, which I haven't said for a long time because I don't want to put any target on Sherilyn, but she's pretty strong, and she's told me that it's okay. So, and they don't want to fuck with her because I think a lot of people would be very pissed off. I know I would be pissed off, but it's not like Owen. You guys didn't know Owen. It's a bit different now because that's the reason why I wanted to bring the whole community together in here, because now when you fuck with one, you fuck with all. That's how I feel, And so it's just, it's just, I can't live my life in fear. And I also realize that everything is providence right now. So heaven has a hand in everything. And I'm not going to live in fear. I'm just not going to live in fear. And when Owen died, I went through a long period of time where I didn't want to have any more friends because I felt really responsible for Owen. And I felt, you know, and now I've gotten to the point where I'm just not going to deal with it anymore. I'm not going to live my life in fear anymore. And not having any friends since Owen is really lonely, you know? I mean, I've been okay because I have God and I always feel like, you know, but it got to the point where it was hard to deal with because I'm too much of a people person. I like people. And I'm not living my life in fear anymore, you know? And I think that people would be pissed off. I think people would get pissed off, you know? I know you do, Gov. I know you do. And when you're involved with stuff like this, you have to be concerned that they're going to target the people you care about, you know? But now I believe in providence, and I think that God's just not watching out over me. He's watching out over all of you. I think there's an army of us in here. And I think that God is watching out over all of us. I think that God brought us all together. I'm just the catalyst, but you know, I'm the catalyst right now, but I think that all of this is providence. I'm just, you know, and it's not even the catalyst. I'm more of a conduit. It's just nice to actually bring us in. I have major trust issues when it comes to friendships. I am. And I'm gun shy, you know? I've had friends murdered, and I've had people who posed as my friends who were so not my friends. And I have gotten duped more than once. That's the reason why I tell people I have my own ideas of who's good and who's bad. And I can generally tell bad people, like that Imaginarium, that David dude. I didn't even know who he was. He befriended me on Messenger. I didn't even know who he was for years until it all came out. But the bad group are very good liars. They're very adept at lying. And as a Christian, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I always want to trust people, or I used to. I always used to want to trust people. But that trust gets fried so many times, then it's hard to just extend that anymore. So now I'm on the other end to where it's easy to flip red flags with me in my mind. And the minute you flipped a red flag, I am incredibly cautious, probably overly cautious. Some of you have dealt with that, you know? And so I get to the point because I don't like to play with the bad guys. And I'm just tired of playing with the bad guys. And okay, I'm talking and not. No one's gonna go at Sherilyn. Plus, Sherilyn is pretty damn strong too. You know, a lot of us are very strong, and a lot of us have gotten stronger. I've worried about Gov, but in some respects, they've trampled over Gov, which I'm not going to get into because it's not my business. It's not my place to give Gov stuff, but he's had to go through some serious shit, but I think that things are actually now, he's involved in a group now. So actually going after him is not just after him anymore. And that's the reason why I want to that's why I'm glad that these Saturdays, I bring us all together and we're able to all act as a community. Because now it's you fuck with one of us, you're going to get all of us on top of you. That's the reason why they don't come in here and do what they used to do. And so, Smokey, it's God, you know? That is God, and there are no coincidences, you know? It was God. I was told to start talking about Isaac Kappy, but more importantly, I was told to open up comments on my YouTube channel, and I did not want to do it. I did it because, like I said, I'm obedient. I'll do what I'm told, but I did not want to do it. Now, a year and a half later, oh my God, it's been a blessing. You guys have been just a blessing. Yes, and they used to come in. There'd be an army of them in here. And now they hardly ever come in anymore. And when they do, it's easy enough to deal with them. Notice how the smiley faces stop. They go on for just a little bit, but then no, they didn't like you into. I thought you were funny. That's the funny thing about it is that some of you guys are just entertaining to watch. I used to feel that I had to take care of it all myself, and now I'm more of a let's sit back and watch how this works, because some of you are just hilarious, you know? Sherilyn loves you into. You've made Sherilyn laugh more than once, you know? And Lavinia, they are hiding in their sewers, which is what rats should do, you know? I am not the only smartass around here. Not at all. But for the longest time, I just didn't feel like there was anyone support, because everyone was quiet. But now that I've opened up there, some of you are so not quiet. Some of you are just as outspoken, if not more so than me a lot of times. And it's just fun to watch. It's fun not have to be the one who has to fight them all the time. And I like these because I don't feel like I have to be on. You know, I can leave and go get food and know that you guys are going to end up entertaining yourselves. You know, I will say that Gov dealt with Geo on X. And Gov used the whole being loving, but just he ended up, not to tell too much about his business, but Geo ended up blocking him. And it was the funniest thing, because I wasn't even responding. I was just watching, because I was getting notified of the whole thing. So I was just watching and reading the conversation. And I will tell you, I laughed out loud a couple times because it was just entertaining to watch. It was a victory. And then I told Gov, God, I'm almost jealous. How come I can't get him to block me? And that's a good thing, Lavinia. You know, that's a good thing. To be supportive and all of that. And me, right now, I can be a dickhead, but I also end up reviewing everything that I do. It's not like I do stuff and then I just leave it, because I second guess myself a lot. And in a way, that's actually a good thing. Questioning your motives and questioning whether or not you've done the right thing, or could you have been a little bit kinder or a little bit nicer, you know? That's the reason why I say Sherilyn is great in here. Because me, I don't play. I get irritated, and then I just, you know. Sherilyn is a little bit, what do I want to say, more level-headed than I am with it, you know? Reevaluating yourself is always necessary. And then when I reevaluate and I realize that I may have overreacted, or I've acted inappropriately, or I made the wrong choice, then I go out of my way to apologize and try to make amends. And that's what we're supposed to do. That's how it works. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what Jesus Christ told us to do. And so, because sometimes I can be a dickhead. I know I can be a dickhead, and being a dickhead isn't something I always want to do, but I do it. And then when, Gov is a perfect example. I blocked Gov. I'm very grateful that Gov didn't just let it go and made a point to actually get me to reevaluate, because I thought he was Thomas, because he's into music. Thomas was into music. It just didn't occur to me at the time, okay, well, there's other musicians other than Thomas, and Thomas Schoenberger isn't even a real musician. He steals everyone else's shit, so he's not even real. But I realized he's not the only musician. Not every musician in the world is Thomas. And that was when I realized Gov is not Thomas, I can be mean first, I can be a dickhead right off the bat, especially if I think that there's games being played, I yell at people and then I apologize for yelling, because then I start thinking about it and thinking, okay, that was harsh. And that's the nice thing about Sherilyn, because I do these, and thank you, Gov. I do try to be reasonable, and I always reevaluate, And you were coming to me with facts. And I knew that you weren't Thomas because you weren't getting your way right away. And if you were Thomas, you would have started insulting me, because that's what he does, Well, into what is it? It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission sometimes, and just do what you think and then ask for forgiveness later if you have to. As a survivor, I find that it's easier for me to do stuff and then actually ask for forgiveness later on than second guess myself and not do anything and just let it go and go and go and go, because it always gets crazy. Because the only thing we can control is ourselves. And so when I look at it, but I always reevaluate. That's why I tell people, I can argue with you. You can bring up something to me, and in the conversation, it doesn't sound like I'm listening to you at all, because I'm arguing and all of that. Just realize that even though I'm arguing, later on, after that conversation, my mind will go back and start reviewing it. I can't even help it. It's just who I am. And when you think I'm not listening, I usually am listening. Maybe it doesn't seem that way at the time, but I always reevaluate and check. I'm a Sagittarius. I'll use that bow before I do anything. And if I'm not hitting you with an arrow, I'm taking the thing and just smacking you alongside the head with it. So, Lavinia, you can talk. You've been fine. Everyone is talking now. It's just when it's one person and you can't make 4 comments in a row. Nobody can do that. That's the reason why Sherilyn's been actually after other people today to do it, because I can't see it. It's flowing really nice. I have no issues with the flow now, because I can keep up with it. I just it's easier to actually when people and if I was at a computer and was doing this on a computer, it probably wouldn't have been a problem. But because I'm on my phone, I only get so much. The putting everything in text into is hard because it's hard to fully express the nuances of the conversation. So you can say things in text that come off a different way than what you meant. And Lavinia, most of us need to listen more than we speak. You know, America, especially as Americans, I don't know what it's like in Australia. I don't know what it's like in other places, but we could all do better to listen more than we speak and actually listen. Because a lot of people aren't listening. They're waiting for the moment they can interject. And that's not the same as listening, you know. Okay, well, sending 5 texts to make 1 point would be tired. Okay, Smokey, I would never have guessed that WWWW is you clapping. Listen and hear more. Unfortunately, with me, I can be so direct and come off much more harsh than I meant. And then sometimes I come off just as harsh as I meant to come off. But then later on, I think, wow, you know, what a dickhead. And so I have to go back and say, okay, I didn't mean to be so harsh. And there are several of you in here who have had to deal with that with me. You know, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't as harsh as I came off to be. You know, and that's just it into you meant what you said when you said it. I rarely ever say anything that I don't mean. You'll never find me blowing smoke up your ass. And I have people sometimes ask me, are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? And I always tell them, dude, when I'm mad at you, you'll know damn well that I'm mad at you. Smokey, you need to email Sherilyn, don't forget. Your book has been paid for, I'm sure, several times over. Everyone was saying that they were going to contribute. You know, you're in the United States, it's only $30, and I think 4 people or 5 people said, no, I'll pay for some of it, I'll pay for some of it. We like to help, all of us like to help each other, you know? And I need to order more books too. I need to call my publisher next week and order more books. I was starving and asked her to see if I had anything on my books, because she collects the money and then I get paid from her. And the last 2 months, I made $13 on book sales. It has been but then I published the book in 2012. The fact that I'm even selling books now is remarkable. That's why I need to get the other 2 books done. I'm working on the one book that's called Maggot, but replace the M with an F. And I'm talking about being gay and all of that. And that's what I worry about, Lavinia, that you would sacrifice. Some people will sacrifice and hurt themselves in order to help each other. And I don't want anybody hurting themselves to hurt me. And I'm so keep that in mind. I do not want people to hurt themselves to help me, because that, you know, I'm okay doing without. I've gotten used to it. Poverty kind of, you know, you learn. And instant gratification isn't doable when you're poor. I want something, well, that's great, but I have people who say, oh, well, I spent money I didn't have. I've never learned that talent. But then I don't have credit cards. Maybe that's what they're talking about. But when I don't have the money, I can't spend it. I don't know how to spend money I don't have, because it doesn't work that way. And as you can see, my smile is not all that pretty. It does not afford me shit, you know? I don't have money that I don't know how to spend money that I don't have, you know? Oh, trust me, Smokey. I could give you a run for your money on shitty families. My whole thing is family for me is a four-letter word. You know, your family should always come first. You know, that's good, Lavinia. I don't have a money tree that I can go clip on. You know, when I'm without, I just am without. But it's funny because I never have an abundance, but throughout my life, I can always say that God has always provided me enough. You know, obviously, I'm not skin and bones. You know, yes, I can't eat. You know, when I was with my ex and he had his cash coming in, shit, we'd eat steak a couple times a week. There's no more of that for me. So I don't have like an abundance. But God always seems to, you know, I always seem to have enough to get me by. And I think that God does that because it keeps us, there's a humility with it. Well, it's funny, Smokey, how people will leave you in the dirt when you're no longer able to give them what they want. I had a lot of friends I thought were friends that were with me, but when I was with my other half, I was always helping everybody out. Well, when we got divorced, I was okay with people being friends with both of us, but he was not. He made everyone make a choice. You either chose him or you chose me. And he was the one with the money and I didn't have shit. So guess who everyone chose? I'll give you three guesses and the answer is it wasn't me. And so, bad friends are a penny a dozen. Fair weather friends as well. You know, they're there for you to fix their problems, but if you ever have an issue, poof, they like fade away and disappear until the good times come again, and then there they are. And friends are when you're friends at the good times and the bad, especially the bad, you know? And I'm lucky because I have friends, you know? I have friends that I feel that if I was in a dire situation, they might not be able to give me any money, but they still would be there, you know? And still, you know, and help out any way they can. And that's what's required, you know? That's the friendship that you know, you're there for the good and the bad. And Smokey, you're pretty, you know, you are family. I feel that all of us in here are family. We're a spiritual family. That's the thing, you know? Our souls we care about each other. And it's because we do care. And so I think that it's a spiritual thing. And that's the reason why, I mean, we've been on here 3 hours now. 3 hours and 6 minutes. I'll have to get off here eventually because, no, a coven, because a coven isn't a family, you know? Because the minute things get bad, they'll turn on each other. They're the first ones to throw you under the bus. Isaac Kappy was a perfect example. All of his people that he considered friends, they all threw him under the bus. You know? They all threw him under the bus. If people only knew exactly how related we all actually were. You know? Spiritual family. Gov has excellent stuff to say about this, you know? Just, we're all together. It's, you know, I think we all know each other on the other side. And that's the reason why we've all collected here on this side. Because we all know each other on the other side. And we're all here basically for the same reason. You know, birds of a feather flock together. And let me tell you, I'm glad I'm in this flock and not in fucking sewer town. You know? Could you imagine if Tara Joyce was your friend? Oh, man. You know? Something else is coming for all of us, you know? Lavinia, it was wonderful to see you. Thank you for coming in, you know? We are all God's children. And I think we all serve heaven. I think everyone who's in here, we're all part of the army that heaven sent here for this time. And that's the reason why we're all in here, because we're all in here and we're all connected to this army that heaven sent us. Sent an army that heaven sent, and we're all in here. You know? She is a hag. Oh my God, she's a hag. And she's obsessed with me. You know? Just... And I am so not interested in her. Ugh. LOL, it's been great. I'm going to have to get off here soon, too. It's been 3 hours of it. I only have, like, 12% to my phone. Make sure that you, Smokey, before you leave, make sure you email Sherilyn. I need to know who I'm inscribing the book to, and I need to know where I'm sending it. Cognitive, it would be fun. I'm going shopping with the kids. God, you guys are all doing stuff. This has been a lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun. I like the rain. That's the reason why I wouldn't mind moving to Ireland. Because the rain, rainy days to me are just, I love rain. This has been a lot of fun. Saturdays are a lot of fun. I got everything I needed to say out the first hour. And then just actually having everybody come in here and talk and share and all of that has just been, I love Saturdays. I really do like this time that we're actually just able to get together and just hang out, you know? It's my pleasure, you know? Cognitive, bless you. It's, you know, I'll definitely be in touch. Smokey, I would love to know how you found God. In fact, maybe next Saturday, that's what we'll focus on. Because Gov has a great story, too. So we'll just plan on Saturday, next Saturday, a week from today, will be Testament Saturday. The Mormons on every last Sunday have Testament Sunday, where everyone gets up and talks about how God is working in their lives. Not that we're going to become Mormon. Oh my God, I wouldn't want to be Mormon again. But we'll have Testament Saturday where we can all talk about how we found God. You know, so we'll just Sherilyn is in here. She'll remind me. Saturday, that's what we'll do. Next Saturday, I'll get the business thing done. And then we'll just start sharing stories about how we met, how we found God. And how we found God and how it changed our perspective and it changed our lives. I think that it'll be great because then people who are searching and looking can get inspired by it. You know, I love these because it's not all about me. I love these because it's not, it's not all about me because it's not all about me. But I think that next Saturday it'll be Testament Saturday. Sherilyn will remind me, and it'll be Testament. We can all talk about how we found God and actually, it always starts out dark, Smokey. Don't feel bad. It always starts out dark. At least you weren't involved with the group that was murdering kids and you went out to destroy Jesus Christ. That's what I did. When I first started going into Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, I wasn't going in because I believed Jesus Christ. I was looking to destroy him, tear his arguments apart. That's how I started. It couldn't have been more dark. Then I found out that the word was infallible and the things that Jesus Christ taught are infallible. You can't argue with them. And so it's not all about the opposition. In fact, it is like what Cat Williams has said. It's God. It's about God. Who gives a fuck what they have to say? What they're doing, what they're thinking, who cares? Fuck them. They're busy digging their hole all the way into the dark. Who cares? I'd rather look up and be inspired than get down in the fucking sewer with them and get all nasty with all the other rats. And it's always a choice. And I bet I'm not alone in here, I bet that a lot of us walk away and much would prefer to be looking up and inspired than saying all kinds of nasty shit about people and reveling in all their dark ass nasty shit. The stuff that I get sent that they're talking in Nathan's thing. They're just the nastiest group of people I've ever seen. They're vile. I don't see how they make anyone's life better. Not even their own. And gross. I much prefer it in here where, and it's not all about me. That's the great thing about it is that it's now changed and evolved to where it's not all about me. Satanist for most of your childhood, yeah, slicing and dicing kids, cutting out their hearts. Yeah, I know all about being a Satanist. Always interesting and consistent. Thank you, Cognitive. When I'm talking about the past, all I have to do is remember it. That's the reason why it's consistent. Because all I have to do is reflect back and remember what happened. That's, like I've said, my past is not fluid. It's stagnant. What happened yesterday, and if you ask me a week from now, it will still have happened the same way. A month from now, a year from now, 10 years from now. When I look back at the past, it's always the same because it doesn't change. And so it's easy to talk about because it's just, it never changes. I might add stuff to it because I'm remembering more stuff to it, but it doesn't change. It's not like I'm driving under an overpass and there's no cops and I don't know the person who jumped, but I can tell you the exact minute that I drove underneath that overpass. But then 4 years later, I'm not driving under the overpass. Now suddenly I'm on the bridge. My past doesn't work that way. What I did yesterday, I can tell you today what I did yesterday. And then, like I said, a week from now, it'll be the same story. A year from now, it will be the same story. 10 years from now, it will be the same story. I don't have a time machine. I can't go back and change things. I can evolve from those things and become a different person later on, but that doesn't change what happened in the past. You know who the past changes for? Liars. That's how the past changes. For them, the past is fluid. A liar can't tell you the same story because they usually lie so much. My sister, perfect example, lies so much she can't remember her lies. So she's always contradicting herself and saying different things because she can't remember her own lies. We're looking forward to hearing your story, Smokey. But you're an interesting dude anyway. Your story, from what you've told us already, has pretty much been inspiring. You are pretty much an inspiration. And I don't say that lightly. So I'm going to have to finish this with prayer. It's going to be 3 hours and 30 minutes, but I just got a thing saying I'd only had 10%, and that was a little bit ago. So my phone will give out eventually here in a minute because it's going to run out of juice. And I have to have enough juice because I have to call Sherilyn to make sure that what she thought, and I always get... Sherilyn is kind of like my producer, so I always get... She tells me when she thinks that shit needs to be improved, all of that. Just don't realize how much of a godsend Sherilyn has been for this group, because she's very good at what she does, and I'm very blessed to have her. I'm very blessed to call a lot of you my friends, and I'm really looking forward to Saturday too, Right, cognitive. Once God has shown you, there's no going back. And there's no getting over it. You can lie to yourself, but you know that you're lying to yourself. When God fills you with the Holy Spirit, it only takes once to be filled with the Holy Spirit to know that the Holy Spirit exists and what it's like. And so, and once it happens, denying it. But I also was watching something on YouTube where they said that is the one unforgivable sin. That's the sin that God won't forgive. Once you get filled with the Holy Spirit, dissing on the Holy Spirit and negating the Holy Spirit and talking shit about the Holy Spirit, that's an unforgivable sin. You can't do that. It's major, Once you know the Holy Spirit, you better have respect, because God doesn't like anyone dissing on the Holy Spirit. And I agreed with what I was listening to, Heaven loves all of you, And the thing about it is, I think we all love each other. That's the cool thing about it, is that we just all really like each other. That's, it's really cool. Let me pray. Heaven, we come to you. We are so grateful and thank you that you filled this chat with the Holy Spirit today, that you brought us all together and you were with us for most of this. It's just, you were here and we were able to express our love. And we look forward to next Saturday, because next Saturday will be Testament Saturday, where we do nothing but glorify your name and talk about how you have changed us and our lives and the ways you have done it. And I'm glad that we have a week, because now everyone can be thinking about that the whole week, what they want to share on Saturday. And it'll give us an entire week of being focused on how best to glorify your name. And that was just a directive. I know that came from heaven. I know that came from you, because once it was spoken out loud, so many people were excited to hear about it. And the only reason that we're here and being able to do what we are all able to do is because you sent your son, our brother Jesus Christ, down to teach us the word. And I appreciate you telling me to open up comments, because now what's happening is that we're all encouraging each other to rise to better and greater heights, to be stronger and more confident in glorifying your name and doing what you ask of us. And I know that we're all grateful. None of us feel like we have to be the one. We're just all happy that we are a one, that we have a seat at the table. And I'm grateful that I have a seat at the table. And I'm grateful that I'm not sitting at the head of the table, because that's a lot of responsibility. That is for our brother, your son, Jesus Christ. And I'm grateful for that. It takes a lot of weight off of each one of us, and yet compels us to be more than what we are today. And we're grateful for the Holy Spirit, and we're grateful for the love that you have for us, and the guidance and providence that you have bestowed upon each one of us. And we say these things lovingly and gratefully in your Son, our brother's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay. This was a really good live. I'm really liking these Saturdays, and I think next Saturday, I'm really excited about next Saturday. I'm just, like and share. If you're listening to this live afterwards, please like and share. Smokey, make sure that you send Sherilyn that email. And Sherilyn, I'm probably going to hang up the phone and call you, so that I can get, you can give me your valuable impressions. I know that it's a lot of time on Saturdays, but I'm just really, really happy about Saturdays. During the week, I'll try and keep them down to an hour. I will be back on Tuesday for sure. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday are the 3 days that I will specifically, definitely make a point of being. So Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. But if I throw one or two or more in during the week, those will probably, during the week, I like to keep them down to an hour. We're all busy during the week. I need your address, and I need to know who you want me to inscribe it to, the name that I'm inscribing it to. But I need the address and who I'm inscribing it to. And hey, Patricia, this has been a really good live, and I just want to thank you guys. You want me to title it Smokey? I can title it Smokey, however way you want it. I just like to put a message in the book and sign it. I'll date it, and so just so that it makes it a bit more personable. I think that getting a book personally signed with something that's said, a message in it by the author, just makes the book a little bit more special. It just makes it a little bit nicer to have. And especially if you're going to buy them from me, we might as well. And so, okay, well, with that said, I got to get off here because my phone is about ready to die. So it's been great. Thanks, guys. And I'll see you on Tuesday for sure. Then I'll call you Smokey. If it's been your nickname, I don't have a nickname. I tried to get people to call me Dave, but nobody would call me Dave. I tried for a while to be. I guess I come off as a David. Nobody calls me Dave. Everyone has always, all my life, called me David. So, I guess, you know. Okay, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you so much. Have a blessed week. I'll see you on Tuesday. And keep in mind what you want to present on Saturday. Because now you are Dave. I'm okay with that, you know. Oh, Cognitive, you have a nickname for me. I'm not sure I want to know that. I've had nicknames before. They just haven't been very pleasant in the past. You know, trust me, people have had lots of names for me. Ask Sewer Town. They come up with all kinds of... They're always pathetic, but, you know, it's just... It's all right. It is what it is. It's hot up here. Notice how the curl has just died out of my hair, because it's hot up here. And so, I'm just... All right, I got to get off here, because I got to have enough to where I can plug in my phone, and I will... You'll like it, I think. Okay. You don't have to share it in here. You can always email it to me. Or you can share it in here. It doesn't, you know. Okay. I wish I had smoke. If I had smoke, it would be a smokehouse. Trust me. You know. I'm a big fan of marijuana, especially if you have post-traumatic stress disorder, which I do. I haven't smoked in quite a while. You know. Until next time, Tuesday. dshurtermod@gmail.com. Any questions, any comments, anything you want addressed. Sherilyn helps me. Yeah, just share it with me. That way, you know the opposition watches this stuff. They dote on everything I say and do. You know? Yeah. Smokey, I know that feeling. I got so many problems. My problems have problems. I understand that, unfortunately, way better than I probably would like. So, I'm right there with you. But I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Share and like. I'll leave it with that. Share and like, please. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday.